السلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وبعد. We continue with the second portion of اقتداء الصراط المستقيم بمخالفة أصحاب الجحيم by Al-Imam Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, following the straight path in order to be different from the people of the hellfire. The Imam Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned that the reason al-Makhalif, which means in Arabic to oppose them, he said it is an issue that's legislative. Maqasid yani shara', it is the issue of legislation. And the reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislated for us to be different from the other people is because of al-mutaba'ah yusil ila al-mahabbah. Now, when you follow something, normally it ends up being something of a passion, desire for that thing. So following something will end a person up inclining towards that thing. Following something will end the person up inclining towards that thing because you develop a love for it, you develop a passion for it, you become used to it. So the door that should be closed is not to follow those things that if you begin to love them, then you negotiate or you forfeit the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the Shaykh he mentioned, that the reason we have been commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Mighty Sublime, to be different from the previous nations, because that being different for us, it is a maslahah, it is a benefit. And being like them, it is a mufsadah, it is something that will spoil or corrupt that which is our intended goal. And our intended goal is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to obey Him, the Mighty, the Sublime, to submit to His commandments by way of following that which the Prophet ﷺ brought us from Allah in the physical and in the religious sense. So that which the Prophet received of the Quran, when Aisha was asked about his character, she said, خُلَقَهُ قُرْآنًا. His character was that of the Quran, meaning the Prophet used the Quran as a manual. He used to follow it. And anything that Allah revealed to him, he would physically show the people how to correlate that and how to enact that in their lives. So therefore, following, let there be no mistake, let there be no doubt. Following something will end up a person loving that thing. It will tie your heart to that thing. So therefore, the opposition that we have been commanded is a protection for us, that we do not love the same things that the disbelievers, that we do not love the same things that people before us love, because we understand they went astray. They went astray as it relates to being extreme. And today, the only type of extremism we know as a society is what the people put in the media. Anything they say, this is extremism, the people say, yeah, this is, yeah, this is extreme, yeah. But they never thought about the real extremism people have been doing for a long time, and to worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ma'hu ghayrih, to worship, associate partners with Him, so other than Him, with him at the same time, then this is extremist in worship. This is qulub for salihin, to take the righteous and go too far. So now you make that righteous person the son of Allah, or you make that righteous person Allah himself in person, or you make that righteous person someone that you could pray to and invoke and like this. So the point the Shaykh is making here is that the aim to be different from the people that Allah said they will be in the fire if they die the way that they are is a protection for the believers. It's a protection for us to oppose them. And to be like them is a corruption for us. So being different, protection for us. Being like them, corruption for us. Being like them is a corruption, corrupting your deen. It's messing up your character and what you believe. It's messing up the way that you should be as a Muslim. And opposing them is a protection. It safeguards you from that. Now, and this allows you, when you oppose them, as the Shaykh said, khilafa qulubina, to make our hearts different min qulubihim, from their hearts. Because remember, we said earlier in the first segment that Allah did not make a person two hearts. You have one heart. So be careful what you put in that heart. Be careful what type of feelings, emotions, beliefs, and passions that you feel in that heart. And if you think that you can mix devotion to Allah and devotion to something other than Allah, then you will never be successful. You will never be successful. From amongst the things that the Shaykh mentioned in this book, Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah, is the adhan. The adhan which we have, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran. This adhan, Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned, وَأَذِّن لِلنَّاسِ, meaning announce to the people the Hajj. Allah mentioned this in the Quran. Also the Prophet he mentioned بين كل أذانين, so between every two adhans, which the adhan sometimes takes the meaning of adhan and iqama. If you ever see in the hadith of the Prophet, it said بين أذانين, it means between the major and minor adhan. Because iqama is adhan. Adhan means to announce, to call out, to broadcast. So when you say what's known as the adhan for dhuhr, adhan for asr, this is called adhan because you're announcing out the declaration of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. And there's no deity worthy of worship except Allah. People worship other than Allah, but is there a worthy deity of that worship other than Allah? No. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, as he was born witness to by all the other prophets and messengers. All of them knew about him. So this is the adhan. But the iqama is a minor form of adhan. And so the Prophet said, بَيْنَ كُلِّ أَذَانَيْنِ, between every adhan and iqama, meaning there's a time for reading Quran, time for praying to Allah wa ta'ala. So here the adhan, Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah, he mentioned this chapter in his book because, as you know, when they were trying to figure out how should people be called to the salah, someone, he said, let's use the horn. Let's use the horn. And the Prophet refused. He said, no, because the Yahud, the Jew, they use the horn. Some people thought that the best way to call the Muslims to the Salah is to use a horn, blow a horn. But Prophet said no. Why? Because the Jews, they use a horn. And I remember living in Newark back in the early 90s. And you were here in South Orange, which was not too far from me, behind me, the next town, which was a big place of the Jews. You were here in the synagogue, the horn blow like this, Allahu Musta'an, at sunrise. And this is when they, make the salat, the sun is rising. And then we hear the bell, as they said. Some said, okay, the bell. Prophet shot that down to a no, because the Nasara, the Christians, they used the bell. You hear every time, on the hour, at the hour, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, however many times that number represents, the bell is going to ring. So 12 o'clock, 12 rings. Ding, ding, like this. 12 times. So Prophet shut all of that down. And this is why Umar ibn al-Khattab and others, some other companions, they had a dream, and they seen in the dream someone was announcing, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Some brothers, when they pronounce this, they say Allahu Akbar, have to get the pronunciation right. The word Akbaru, 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 greatest, like Ahsanu, the best, Ahsanu, the best, Aslamu, the safest, Aslamu, the safest, Akbaru, the greatest. Sometimes you hear some of the Africans, when they call the adhan, or when they say the word Akbaru, you hear the ra on the end, Akbaru. It's not common for us because we didn't learn that as African Americans, but this is proper to say Allahu Akbaru. This is better than trying to say the last letter and you say Akabat, or Akabat, Akabart, Akbaru. You can't say Akbaru, it should be Allahu Akbaru. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Sometimes people, because the lack of proper pronunciation, they say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. This is ghalat, and they had a khata. This is a mistake in pronunciation. Some people, they say Allahu Akbar. They take the last letter before the last letter and they elongate. Akbar. This is incorrect. Imam Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin said this is Khufar. Khufar lafdi. This is a statement of Khufar to say Akbar. Because Akbar, he said it means the word in Arabic tabal. And tabal means a drum that you beat. So you say Allahu Akbar, you send Allah's drum, because you elongated the ba and the word Akbar. So if you say Allahu Akbar, it sounds good, but you said Allah is a drum. This is kufr. Kalimatul lafdiyya kufr. This is a statement of kufr. You're still a Muslim, but the statement is wrong, it's a sin. And it's a statement of disbelief. Why? Because it's making mockery of Allah on accident. You have no idea. You intend good, but it's wrong, and it's disbelief and statement, not action. It's disbelief and statement. It's not making you a disbeliever, but the statement is a statement of kufr. Statement of kufr means a statement of disrespect. Statement of kufr, statement of sin, because you're calling something about your Lord that He's not. It's not a drum. A'udhu billah. So Allahu Akbar, that elongation on the last letter before the last letter should be Allahu Akbar straight away. Not Akbar. That's wrong. Then you have Allahu Akbar, Akbar. People do that. They make ak and they make bar. Both of them are wrong. Then you have Allahu Akbar. People do in the beginning. Allahu Akbar. Allah is the question mark. They say Alif Istifham. So if you say Allahu Akbar, Allah, you're saying, is Allah the greatest? That's what you're saying. By elongating the beginning, you're saying, is Allah the greatest? And this is Khufar. Of course He's the greatest. You can't even ask that question. It's a statement of doubt, statement of disbelief. So the best way is to say straight away, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. If you can't say Allahu Akbar, pronounce the U on the end. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. But if you say Allahu Akbar, that's wrong. If you say Allahu Akbar, that's wrong. And if you say Allahu Akbar, all of them are wrong. This adhan, one of the benefits from this that people never look at or they miss is that this is in line with the Prophet ﷺ teaching us that our deen is different from the people of the mushrikeen. And everybody that makes shirk with Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is a mushrik. Some of them had a prophet to come to them, others didn't. Those that had a prophet to come to them, they received the book, then they are known as Ahlul Kitab, meaning the people that scripture came to. But they're still mushrikun, because they make partners with Allah. They make shirk to Allah. They make Allah like His creation. And they call on Allah along with others besides Him. So mushrikun also includes the people of the book. They are, as Allah said, Ahlul Kitab wal Mushrikeen. They are the people who are from the pagans by way of worshipping other than Allah. Then the Shaykh, after he mentioned this, he talked about some of the other aspects that fall under imitating the people of the book, or imitating the people that are from the pagans. Because Ashab al-Jahim could mean you had a person who was a prophet come to you with a book, or you didn't. But still, if you're people who are upon other than Tawheed, then you're from the people of Shirk. And this is a common misconception they have today. We'll say at the least misconception, at most a trick. Because you have Shubuhat, which means misconception. Person thinks he's right and he's wrong. And then you have Talbisat. Talbisat is someone's purposely trying to trick you. Shubuhat, and these are two terms in the religion that we've been warned against. Misconception. You think you're right, but you're wrong. It's two left shoes. Swear that you're right, but in reality you're wrong. This is called Shubuhat. Sometimes it's from your environment, sometimes it's from your upbringing, sometimes it's from your teachings, sometimes it's because we've been so polluted with all of these different type of perceptions and ideologies. We have to be clean before we can take in some information that's pure. So Shubuhat, someone has a misconception, he thinks he's right. And Talbisat, someone is playing with you, trying to cover the truth with falsehood, tricking. So when you talk about what the Prophet ﷺ mentioned next, and it's not exactly in this order, but the Shaykh, he mentioned some of these things like this, and I'm just picking some of them. So it will take maybe a year every month to do seminars to finish this book. That's how much stuff is in here. Rasulullah, he talked about this aspect of imitating those people who are from the people of the hellfire. And this means if they die upon this, they go to hell. We don't know. They could be upon this, and Allah guides them to Islam. So we said for the people who have a way that's other than the way of Islam, and if they die on that way, that's where they will be going. Us, we're Muslim. Allah has guided us to Islam. We didn't figure anything out. It's not because we're smart. It's not because, we had some good connection with somebody. And no, those are just things that people perceive. But the reality is, Allah already decreed for you and me to receive this guidance, to long for this guidance, to accept it. So this is a bounty, a blessing, a gift from Allah. So this, when the Prophet ﷺ mentions about those people from the book, meaning they are Jews and Christians, when he mentions about them as it relates to their worship, as it relates to their acts that they do, and mentioning the Creator, then from amongst their ways is that they mention Him with a loud voice. They mention Him with a loud voice. And the Prophet ﷺ prohibited us this, as the hadith is in Sahih Muslim, where some people, they were going on a trip and they were mentioning Allah very loud. They were saying La ilaha illallah like this, very loud. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, which means there's no power nor might or strength except Allah gives you power and strength. And they were saying this along the journey. So the Prophet ﷺ, he told them, he said, indeed you're not calling the one who's deaf, he can't hear you. Meaning you don't need to raise your voice to remember Allah in speech like this. Don't raise your voice like this, you were yelling. So this, and Prophet told them not to do this because this actually is away from the Nasara, and that they broadcast loudly how they feel about the Creator, as if this makes them closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And remember, there are some exceptions on the day of Eid, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلِتُكْمِلُ الْعِدَّةِ, and this is because Allah has commanded you to finish the period of fasting. Then Allah said, وَلِتُكَبِّرُ اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ, and that you magnify His praise because He guided you. So this is why we say on the day of Eid, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd, because this is a rejoicing effort, because we completed by Allah's permission 29 or 30 days of fasting. But we don't do that every day. Not as Muslims, not as people that follow the Sunnah. We shouldn't sit around and do that all the time. Why? Because the Prophet said, don't do it. You're not calling on one who's deaf. Allah is, Kareebun, Sami'ul Dua. He's the one that's close to you, although He's not with you physically. He's close to you because He hears everything. So you don't need to do that. But the people of the book, they felt they need to do this, Allahu Musta'an, making Him again like a human being. If you don't raise your voice, He can't hear you. Or I want to make it, loud so He can't hear me. Allahu Musta'an. So this issue, the Shaykh he mentioned. And wallahi, when we talk about the day of Eid, this is one of the exceptions. When we talk about dhikr after salat, it's not an exception. People should not be making the dhikr very loud. And we know we have some narrations when the companions said they would know when the salat ended because they would hear people make dhikr. They would hear the people say, Allahu Akbar. So you finish praying, you say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. You glorify Allah 3 times like that. You say, Allahumma innaka anta salam. Oh Allah, from you is protection, security, and peace. You are the one who is the total security and peace. Wa minka salam. And from you is the total security and peace. Ya Dal Jalali. Oh, you magnificent one. Ya Dal Jalali wal Ikram. And you have total respect and nobility due to you. So you make these type of what we call adhkar, mentionings, but you don't sit and say them loud. You just say in the beginning, Astaghfirullah, loud, so people will know, okay, they finish. As narrated, the Prophet ﷺ, after he would taslim, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, he would say Astaghfirullah out loud. He would say Allahu Akbar on one average. Sometimes it's narrated, he said 3 times, Astaghfirullah, 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 Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Each one of 3 times. Then he will start to say, Allahumma innaka anta salam, wa minka salam, تبارك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام تباركت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام اللهم أعني على ذكرك. Oh Allah, help me to remember you, wa shukrika, to be grateful to you, wa husni ibadatika, and execute my worship to you, because it's a struggle. And if Allah doesn't give you the ability, you won't be able to do that. So this should not be said out loud. Like I visited Masjid of Allah Musta'an. After the Salah, the Imam, he turned around and I had the people to say all of this, La ilaha illallah, Allah Musta'an. And they're making all of this dua for like 6 minutes, and then they wipe their face and wipe their chest. This is against what the Prophet ﷺ told those people in the Hadith of Muslim. It's against making that which Allah has told you, khufyan, tadarun, khufyan, in the middle course, not too low and not too loud. Now, Allah commands you that, as He said, khawfan wa tama'an, and hoping that you will have it accepted by Allah, and fearing that maybe you did something to discredit the acceptance. So we're in the middle, not to the right, not to the left, in the middle. Tadarruan khufyan, you said with humility, not loud, but not, very low, in the middle. So this Prophet told us, because this is one of the ways of the Nasara, Yehud and Nasara, they are very loud in what they deem to be worship. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not command us to do that, but He prohibited us, except in special cases like the days of Eid and so forth. The Shaykh also mentioned, Barakallahu Fikum, the issue of wearing the clothes of a people that's particular for them. And he brings the narration of Ali ibn Abi Talib that's in the Musannaf Imam Abdul Razak, where Ali came out during his time and he seen some people praying. And they had this upper garment, shirt with the sleeves or the way that it was wrapped, as they used to wear it sometimes, like we have on the Hajj and Umrah. And the izarin, waist wrap, and they have a top piece. And you know that on Hajj, we take the one part, you throw it over your left shoulder, and your arm is out. But outside of that, if you were to pray, what happens? You have to put both shoulders, throw it over your atikah. You have to put over your shoulders, over your shoulder blades, because you can't pray with your shoulders out, your underarm showing. The Prophet prohibited that. Why did he prohibit that? Again, because the Yahudi, that's how they pray. So Ali came out and said, who are those people over there praying? And they got, their shoulders out, As the part for the man is from the navel to the knee. It should be covered. From the navel to the knee for the salat is your awrah. For the man, should be covered. But also you can't pray with your shoulders out. So that means you have to put something on the top part, your chest and so forth. And then you had the hadith where the Prophet observed the people, the Yahudi, they used to wear this special type of shirt, a small type of fitting shirt. And they would wear this to mark an anniversary. And so the Prophet prohibited us to wear that type of small, tight shirt just because they were wearing it as a shirt of celebration, on the day of their commemoration for something they would celebrate. And this, all of it, the Prophet mentioned this in line with that which we have been commanded to oppose them in everything, to oppose them. Not to be like them in belief, not to be like them in dress, conduct. We found the Prophet ﷺ, when he was with Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, walking one day, and the Jews, they used to do things to the Prophet, while they were the same ones waiting historically in different places around the world to see where the Prophet was going to pop up, because they knew he was going to be from amongst the Arabs. How did they know that he was going to be from amongst the Arabs? Who could tell them? How did the Jews know that the last prophet was going to be from amongst the Arabs? From their book. It was in their book. So they were in different places. And so those who some that are from amongst the same Jews, now that he's prophet and he lives in Medina and he made the migration, they want to say things belittling to him. They don't want to take his word for what he mentions from the revelation. So on one occasion when he was with his wife Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, may Allah be pleased with her, they said in passing, Salamu alaikum, Salamu alaikum. And this again, people have to work hard. And if you're working hard, we have to work harder to gain proper diction in the Arabic language. Starting with learning makharij huruf, the places that the letters come from, because without that articulation, we're not going anywhere. But imagine a person trying to say Salamu alaikum and he only is able to say Salamu alaikum. Well, Salamu alaikum means death be upon you. Salamu alaikum means may you drop dead. Salamu alaikum means may somebody poison you. Salamu alaikum is a invocation, a death wish towards the person. It almost sounds like Salamu alaikum, may you be safe from any type of harm. To the point that the word Salamu alaikum means may you be harmed. So they call themselves being slick, passing the Prophet. He'll think we're giving salams while we're wishing death upon him. So in that hadith, as Aisha went off, talking about my husband, talking about the messenger, transgressed the limits, he went off. He stopped and said, Ya Aisha, he said, Inna Allaha rafiqa wa yuhibbu rifqa. Allah is the one who's the most gentle, and he is the one who loves gentleness. This is opposition to those people of the book. Because when you harm outside of the fold of a person who really believes, he's going to return harm back to you. He's going to return harshness with harshness. He's going to return ignorance with ignorance. Prophet ﷺ didn't do that. It's why you should don't black on them. In other words, he said, I'm the Prophet, my invocation, my dua will be accepted. He said back to them, wa alaikum, the same to you. So as you was deaf to me, if I say the same to you, then it's back on you. And I don't have to argue and I have to do this and that and the third. So these same Jewish and time of Salah, they had this type of mannerism where they would pray with the shoulders out. The Prophet prohibited that. They also had a tight shirt they used to wear for commemoration. The Prophet said, don't dress like that, because the dress of the Muslim should be loose to begin with. La yukshaf an awratihim, should not be exposing his body parts and so forth. Then the Prophet ﷺ also experienced from them that they would not take any knowledge except from those ta'ifa minhum, except the group that was from amongst them. If it didn't come from their group, they wouldn't take it. If it didn't come from their group, they wouldn't take it, while they knew he was the messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. While they knew that he had the truth with him on his tongue. But from amongst their way, they would not take anything, even if it be the truth, except it came from their own people, from the group that they were with. So now we have followed them, and that is Muslims. The truth comes to you, but it's not from the group that you're with. The truth comes to you, but it didn't come from the one that you respect. The truth comes to you, but because it didn't come by way of those that you associate with and that you deal with on a regular basis, you shun it. I'm not taking that. I'm not listening to him. He's not a scholar. He's not a sheikh like this. And this is the way of the Yahud. That's why we take the knowledge where the knowledge comes. Truth must be taken no matter who has it. In general terms. So the Prophet mentioned this because this is a reality. And Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah wrote about it because it's reality. Following those that are from amongst the opposition and the religion. Tabarak wa ta'ala mentioned this to Sulaiman. Rather, Asif, he mentioned this to Dawood, the father of Sulaiman, where he said, Ya Dawood, inna ja'alna khalifatan fil ard. O Dawood, we have made you in charge in the land. You are a prophet and a messenger because you have the Zabur. Fahkum bayna nasi bil haq. Fahkum bayna nasi mada bil haq. So judge between the people and that which is true. وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ. And do not follow their desires. يُضِلَّكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Because by following the desires you will be led astray from the path of Allah. So this point Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't just mention to the Prophet mentioned to his companions. This is an old concept that you only follow what comes from your group. You only follow that which comes from your group, being like the Jews. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us that you take the knowledge from those who know, if you don't know. Now, so inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala will stop here. The next time, inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala. What time is it now?
It is 4:04.
We'll start back. What time you pray Maghrib? Asr.
We usually pray it at 5 o'clock, but we can do it.
Okay, so we'll start back at 5:15, inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala. Wa sallallahu wa sallam baraka ala rasulil kareem. وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا والحمد لله رب العالمين جزاكم الله خير.
Mistake. 4:30. Oh, it's 4:30. I'll sit down. That one on schedule. Hit that juice for you, Shay.
Sure.